So a new FAQ has been released, and it now allows the access of the Indomitus Marines to Deathwatch, Space Wolves, Blood Angels and Dark Angels. Let's take a look. Hello and welcome back to Auspex Tactics for just a quick update as to the new FAQ that Games Workshop have released for the Edge of Silence book. The Edge of Silence is the rules manual that comes in the Indomitus box and basically gives out the datasheets for all of the units within. They already had issued an FAQ for it previously, just to fix the way that they'd worded the Storm Shield ruling so you couldn't get silly things like 2+ invulnerable saves for it. But now they've issued a further one to allow you to use all the different units as the ones from the other major chapters that aren't part of the main Space Marine Codex. It's nice to see the actual wording in print now, but I'll admit that certain areas of the rule are lacking and it sort of needs patching in multiple ways, I think. Sounds like a classic day one FAQ to me. So the rule actually reads as this: Indomitus has been released and the forces of the Adeptus Astartes have been reinforced. You can now replace the chapter keyword with Blood Angels, Space Wolves, Deathwatch or Dark Angels, and the successor chapters of the Blood Angels and Dark Angels, such as the Flesh Tearers and Angels of Absolution. For example, you could take an Assault Intercessors datasheet, and if you decide it's from your Blood Angels army, then its chapter keyword would become Blood Angels. Technically, without this rule you wouldn't be able to normally, as unless indicated that the units can be used by these chapters, then they don't technically get access to them, just in the same slightly weird way that you can't say take units like Centurions in Blood Angels for example. Obviously this is pretty excellent news for all the chapters. We did know that they were going to come over to them at some point, but it's good to see that that's earlier rather than later, and we're not sitting around waiting for codexes or anything daft like that. However, they did say that there will be certain keywords on some of the units which don't appear to have materialised, at least with this update. Blood Angels and Space Wolves will of course love to get their hands on all these assault units, particularly Assault Intercessors I think will be making big appearances in both armies, and Blade Guard and Outriders aren't going to do any harm either. Interestingly enough, they haven't included the Wolf Guard keyword on the Blade Guard for the Space Wolves, despite saying that that would happen at some point. And looking over at the Dark Angels, we don't have the Deathwing keyword as an option on the Blade Guard, and we don't have the Ravenwing keyword on the Outriders. The lack of these keywords is going to hold them up in terms of being able to access their own unique options, most notably those Outriders who will gain absolutely loads from being able to use Ravenwing. There are a ton of synergies and stratagems that the Dark Angels have for bikes, but they pretty much all revolve around the Ravenwing keyword. So until you get that, you're not going to be able to say use the Jinx special rule, or have quite as good synergy with some of the characters. It's a little bit less onerous for Deathwing and the Inner Circle. They don't really have quite that many options and synergies anyway, but it would still be nice and thematic. And again, for Space Wolves, having Wolfguard on the list would be pretty helpful. It does give them extra synergy with things like Logan Grimnar, and say the extra attacks that Arjak Rockfist can give them, which is a pretty nice little combo and would be nice to access. Honestly, I think if they did want these units to have the keyword or the option to take them, then they should have really put them in this little FAQ. All it would take would be an extra little line to allow them access to that, so honestly it's a little bit annoying. I don't know if maybe when they come out with full multi-part plastic kits with this, which an image has already been leaked by their Facebook page for the Blade Guards, maybe they'll have a bit more of a formal FAQ to allow all the armies access to all of these different units, much in the same way that they allowed most of the armies, although sadly not Deathwatch, access to the Phobos units. I suspect they'd take a little bit more time over a document like that, rather than this, which is just a bit of an update to a very basic starting book, just to get you to use these units in a very simple form. So it's good to know that Deathwatch will be able to get access to all of these units exactly as they are at the moment. In particular, I think Eradicators are going to be a big win for the Deathwatch. Being able to eliminate tanks with an infantry platform is really quite nice, though they haven't gone for anything more in-depth at the moment, such as mixing and matching as new Primaris kill teams. They did say that they'll be updated fairly early in 9th, so I guess we'll have to wait for a new codex. Sadly, there is one pretty big omission in the Deathwatch datasheets, which means that we won't actually be able to use special issue ammunition on the heavy bolt pistols and the twin bolt rifles, or at least not rules as written. The ability crops up on the Deathwatch datasheets rather than just applied to every bolt weapon in their army. So technically speaking, none of them can actually use special issue ammunition at the moment. Furthermore, even if a unit has the special issue ammunition rule, then you can only use it on certain weapons from a big list. Interestingly enough, heavy bolt pistols are on that list, although twin bolt rifles didn't exist before now for those Outriders, so they won't be on that list. So there's kind of multiple things that they need to fix if they want the bikes and the Blade Guard to be blazing away with special issue ammunition rounds. I strongly suspect it would be the intent for the bikes to be able to use that. After all, the standard Deathwatch bikes with their twin bolt guns do get special issue ammunition, so I don't see why it would be any different for the Outriders. Still, things like the Eradicators that don't need special issue ammunition are going to be excellent to field. I'm sure it will get patched with their codex whenever it comes out. Again though, this is absolutely final confirmation that Deathwatch truly are getting access to an Ancient and a Lieutenant, both really quite meaningful and useful developments to their army, seeing as they are primarily shooting faction, and being able to reroll wounds to wound against all targets, and also fire when they die, are both great advantages. This was doubly confirmed by the Warhammer 40,000 Facebook page, when a couple of people asked that, and they said yes, they definitely indeed do get these units. The Blade Guard Ancient isn't all that more expensive than standard Ancients, although the Lieutenant really is quite a lot more expensive, just due to his fancy kit with the mastercrafted Power Sword, Storm Shield and Neo-Volkite pistol. With a bit of luck, whenever they do get their codex, hopefully they'll gain access to all the other raft of Lieutenants, Ancients and various other options like that. As while the Indomitus Lieutenant is a very powerful model, I think it would be quite interesting to be able to just field a bare bones one as well, and just focus him on providing buffs and doing a bit of special issue ammunition fire, rather than getting too bogged down with all sorts of fancy killer upgrades for close combat. So overall, I'm glad that these armies can use these units now, though I think that this wasn't the most thought out FAQ, just as they're lacking a lot of keywords that they say they'd get, and also the Deathwatch ones don't really work with one of their main army rules. In any case, let me know what you think down in the comments below, particularly if you're looking forward to using these units in one of the chapters that's discussed. If you've enjoyed the video, then feel free to subscribe to Auspex Tactics, where we'll certainly be keeping plenty more 40k videos coming, following the developments of 9th edition. If you'd like to help support the channel, I'd just like to mention that I have a Patreon page down in the video description below, so if you are watching regularly, then any support is greatly appreciated. Channel patrons get to see certain videos early, there's regular votes to see what sort of things come next on the channel, and there's a prize draw at the start of each month, to which all patrons are automatically entered. If any of that sounds good, or you'd just like to help keep these videos coming, then the link is down in the video description. In any case, a massive thank you for listening, and I'll hope to see you guys next time.